when a little girl pointed at his arm and whispered, "My mom has that tattoo," his world froze. The tattoo on his forearm had faded with time, but it still meant everything. A thin blue wave, slightly crooked, inked the night he promised never to run again. Jaden adjusted his jacket as he waited outside the community center, scanning the sidewalk for his son. Single parenting had turned patience into muscle memory. Long days, quiet nights, no space for mistakes. That's when a small voice cut through the noise. "Mommy, look, that man has your tattoo." Jaden froze. He looked down as a little girl, no older than 6, stared opally at his arm, not curious, not confused, certain. Her eyes widened. "That wave, my mom has it." Same place. Jaden felt his breath catch. Because there were only 2 people in the world who should have known that tattoo existed. The girl's mother rushed over, apologizing softly as she took the child's hand. "I'm so sorry," she points at everyone's tattoos lately. Jaden nodded, forcing a smile, but his pulse wouldn't slow. Years ago, that wave had been a promise shared under flickering pier lights, a foolish, hopeful kind of love. Then life collapsed, one mistake, one night of silence, and she was gone by morning. No note, no goodbye, just absence. He'd learned to survive without answers. Learned to raise his son alone, learned not to look back. Yet, as the woman turned away, Jaden caught a glimpse of her wrist. A sliver of blue ink, the same crooked wave. If you've ever wondered how one small choice can echo years later, you'll understand why his feet wouldn't move. "Wait," Jaden said, his voice barely steady. "Your tattoo. Where did you get it?" The woman hesitated, just long enough to matter. "Years ago," she said carefully. "It was someone important." Her eyes searched his face, then quickly looked away, like she was afraid of what she might find there. The little girl tugged her sleeve. "Mom, it's the same." "Yours and his." Jaden swallowed. His mind raced through memories he'd buried on purpose. Hospital holies, unanswered calls, the night he'd helped a scared woman get home safe after a storm, expecting nothing back. Except he'd given her his jacket, his number, his trust. "I'm Jaden," he said quietly. Her breath caught. For a moment, the world seemed to narrow to the space between them. Traffic faded, voices blurred. Even the girl sensed the shift, standing still now. "I didn't know how to find you," the woman finally whispered, "and when I tried, it was already too late." Some moments don't explode. They ache. Jaden didn't answer right away. 8 years of questions pressed against his chest at once. Why she left, why she stayed silent, why he'd raised a child alone believing love had simply chosen someone else. "I searched," he said finally, voice tight, "for months. Then I stopped. Because stopping hurt less." Her eyes filled, but she didn't cry. "I was sick," she said, "after that night. I found out I was pregnant, then everything spiraled. I thought disappearing was the only way not to ruin you." The words landed heavy. Around them, life continued, doors opening, laughter spilling out, while Jaden stood trapped between anger and relief. His son waved from across the lot, calling his name. This was the moment he'd practiced for years, choosing distance over pain. If you've ever stood at the edge of forgiveness, you know how terrifying it feels to step forward. The girl suddenly smiled, breaking the tension. "Mom," she said proudly, "he's nice. Like you said." Jaden looked down. "You said that." The woman nodded, embarrassed. "I tell her stories about a man who helped me when I was scared. A man with a wave tattoo who chose kindness when he didn't have to. That stopped him cold. Because that night by the pier, he hadn't thought it mattered. He'd just walked her home in the rain, given her his jacket, paid for a cab, and left before expecting thanks. Yet here it was, retold, remembered, passed down. The girl held up a drawing she'd been clutching. 2 waves, side by side. Jaden's son walked over, curious, standing close to his leg. Two children, two waves. Sometimes fate doesn't rush. It waits until you're strong enough to recognize it. Jaden finally understood. The kindness he'd almost forgotten, the night he chose patience over fear, had never disappeared. It had grown. I didn't save you, he said softly. I just stayed. She smiled through tears. That changed everything. Their children sat together on the curb, already trading stories like this meeting had been scheduled long ago. The girl leaned toward his son. Our parents have matching waves, she whispered, like it was a secret meant to be kept safe. Jaden felt something loosen inside him, not the past, but the weight of carrying it alone. They didn't rush love. They talked, walked, let the truth settle naturally. Coffee became conversations. Conversations became dinners. Healing didn't arrive all at once. It arrived honestly. Months later, the four of them stood by the same pier. The water moved gently, repeating itself the way life sometimes does. Jaden looked at her. I thought love had passed me by. She shook her head. It was just waiting. If this story moved you, share what kindness you almost forgot ever giving. Because sometimes the love you're searching for is already remembering you.